Around a year ago, I made a video how to make the best thumbnails like the biggest creators, but since then, viewers' expectations have changed, completely changing how thumbnails perform. So today, I'll be showing you how to absolutely destroy your competition with these new thumbnails. Okay, let's start with finance thumbnails, and for an example, we're gonna take a Mark Tiberi thumbnail. Let's say we want to create something like this. Okay, before we start doing anything, we have to cut out our object. In this case, it's gonna be Mark Tiberi, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. For this, I'm using pen tool, never use this tool, and magic wand. It's not that bad, but for complicated objects, it's also pretty bad, so always use pen tool. You don't need to be perfect in this, just to make it look pretty decent. I also don't pay much attention on cutting elements on hair because I know I'm gonna edit this anyway. Alright, now let's select all of this and go over here, and now using the second tool, try to fix the hair. In this case, it's not much to fix actually, but let's just do some adjustments. Okay, if you have places on your object like I have, for example like glasses, you also have to cut out the background from this. Alright, looking good. Now we have to take care of our background. For this you can use AI or you can use your own background, it actually doesn't matter. Okay, to generate background I'm gonna use a simple prompt in ChatGPT that you can actually steal from me, and it's prompt to generate one-to-one background from each thumbnail. And to do this, I'm just writing something like this: create one-to-one background from this thumbnail, only background, no other elements. Now we have to wait until ChatGPT generate our image. Okay, we have our image ready. Now just copy it and paste it to the Photoshop. It could be better, but because I'm just showing you how to do X thing, I'm not gonna pay much attention to making it look fabulous. Of course you should, but for me it's absolutely enough to show you how to make this kind of thumbnail. Let's actually copy one more time this thumbnail and let's cut this desk from there. Alright, perfect. Now I like to make kind of desaturated this background for something like this. Also, let's remove this light from there. Perfect. Okay, now for the graph, use a pen tool on the shape option with stroke only and try to make it like this. Perfect. You can also copy it now, so you have two shapes, but this one set with the fill, white fill, and turn off the stroke. And now let's name it fill, this second option. So we have stroke and fill, and for the fill, turn on the layer mask option, use gradient tool on black and white, and do it something like this, like it's disappearing. Maybe a little bit higher, yeah, just something like this. And now also copy the stroke, make it green, turn on the layer mask, and do the same, but like this. So it, with the time, this stroke is turning into green. To do the same with the fill option, copy it, go into properties, solid color, green, and now just delete this with the brush tool, for example. For example, to copy this thumbnail over here, we're gonna use a circle, ellipse tool, fill again to none, stroke to red. We have our circle. We can make the stroke a little bit thinner, and somewhere like there should be a bed option. I have no place for this, but you could just do it over here. I'm gonna use only this right option. And actually for the contrast, let's use red still. And now take another square tool, and this time not on the stroke option but with the fill option, make it a little bit round, more round. Write any value you want, $10K for example. Use any font you like. I'm gonna skip with this Arial bold, I guess. Alright, perfect. And now let's just copy it, turn on the mosaic option over here, rasterize layer. Now we can also make it a little bit bigger, also the text, and make our circle a little bit thicker. Now let's add some vignette to the background, like this. With the brush tool, turn off a little bit the saturation, and from the below also add some vignette. Let's add some blur on our background, and it's actually done. For the lifestyle thumbnail, let's actually copy this thumbnail you can see on the screen right now, which I made for my client. Obviously, we have to start with cutting out our object, and when we have our object ready, it's a lot of job that has to be done. First of all, let's actually select his crew neck or whatever this is with pen tool. Now perfect, let's create hue and saturation and just turn off the saturation completely, so we're getting something much more black because the photo was taken outside, so the sun made it look much brighter, kind of reddish, which we don't want. For the tie, we're going to do the same, but this time we're going to select the tie and make it red. Okay, let's now do the same with tie, but a little bit better actually. We can select this. Okay, perfect. And now before we select this, let's copy this so we can have another layer. Let's now delete anything else than tie, so we're gonna just keep the tie, and now convert this to the smart object. Click on this icon, grab this, make a group, solid color red, set the adjustment option to the color. Now clipping mask to the layer below, also create levels, and now play with it so it actually looks good. I'm gonna use something like this. Now we have our tie ready. Now let's edit his shirt so it is white for a better contrast and more appealing thumbnail. Okay, for the shirt we're going to do exactly the same. Like you can see, just go into smart object and do the same thing. Solid color on the color option, levels, adjust the levels like I do. It's one of the best options to make it look actually good when you're turning something black into white. And now just white solid color, that's it. It's not perfect, but actually nobody cares, only nerds from Twitter will care that it's not perfect, so don't worry about this. Let's make it a little bit bigger, like this. Perfect. Some face retouche, and for this let's create another layer, shift and backspace, and do it 50% gray. Select this on the light, lower opacity and lower flow. With our white brush, let's paint some highlights on his face. Now do the same, but you can create another layer. I'm gonna do this on this one, and with the brush paint some shadows. Focus to make it on his hair especially, and it's so much better already. Now create some curves, make it upper, clipping mask. With the curves, do some highlights on his forehead, do some highlights here also. Now let's desaturate everything, so hue and saturation, desaturation. Actually keep something like this, clipping mask again, and it's going to be our teeth edit. Perfect. Now to make these cool little highlights, these sharp highlights that makes you look like complete Giga Chad, do curves exactly like I did, and with lower opacity and lower flow, just paint it wherever you like actually. And now let's actually add a little bit of saturation to everything. Perfect. Make him a little bit more reddish, so do the color selective over here, and now the blue and greens tone a little bit down, something like this. He's pretty good saturated now, I guess. We can fix face a little bit to make it look a bit brighter, for example on the nose, Alright, now turn the eyes into more white. So for this, colorize, saturation down, highlights a little bit up, and paint like this. Perfect. And now for his eyes, let's do again hue and saturation, colorize. Let's try to make it looks realistic, so something like this, I guess. Don't overdo it. Turn the saturation down a bit. All right, and this is our character done. For background, use ChatGPT again. I got something like this that I'm gonna just use. All right, make it looks a little bit more appealing. Thanks to shadows, vignette, do some glow behind him and vignette in the corners. Now it looks absolutely fantastic, and add our main elements on the left and the right side. Alright, we got this, and now create exposition clip mask, Ctrl+I, and make a realistic shadows. To make a realistic shadows, drop it below, and now turn the white brush and lower the flow, but actually not now, because now very close to the edge, paint some highlights very close to the edge like I do right now, and now lower the flow so this highlight goes farther and it fades away. Good. The same for here, something like this, and looks pretty good. We can do some highlights here too. Alright, and now let's copy this course we did for our face, but this time delete it from face and make it over here, and turn this on, for example, overlay, do a clipping mask. Alright, and now everywhere do it on 50%. Gorgeous. Now let's do text real on this side, make it bigger. Use again any font you want, add some shadows, basic shadows like I do. This is one of the best settings for shadows, not anything crazy, but that's what this is about. Now find on the internet this brush tool, brush highlight effect, and just cut out this from the background, add some shadows, solid color, turn this into green, and we have left side ready. For the right side, I'm not going to show you how to make this because it's exactly the same. You're doing what I just showed you, but on the other side with the text saying bad and the red color. That's it. Okay, for the documentary style thumbnail, we're going to recreate that Fern thumbnail, but this thumbnail is actually amazing, but let's make it a little bit in our style and make it related to football. Okay, for this we again need our elements. Why this looks so good? Because it's already highly edited. I showed you how to do this. In this case it's almost the same, but it's not that important here because we're going to desaturate this exactly like I showed you here. But before, let's maybe add a clipping mask. Actually not a clipping mask, but a layer, and clip this to this. Now fill this with black color and do some noise, add noise like this. Perfect. And now screen mode, and it looks very good. Desaturate this like that, and to make it not that boring, let's add some layers, let's add some levels like this and just play around with it. It looks kind of like this, but let's delete this effect with black brush to make his face actually brighter. Use some curves for it as well and paint it on faces to make it brighter, and it's much better. Now let's add some shadows for it behind this. Let's say something like this. Now for the background, we're going to use a paper texture and some vignette behind our guys on the 50% opacity, and that's it for the background. Okay, let's also add another curve effect, something like this. How did I do this? I have absolutely no clue. I was just playing with it, and that's what I advise you to do as well when you are doing thumbnails. Just play with different options because this is how you learn things. I still have no clue how the curves work. I don't know what's gonna happen if I do something like this or this. I'm just playing with it, and I just have this kind of sense of style. Now add some logos in the background is actually not that important. Put the vignette over it. Make it a little bit harder actually. Also desaturate this as well, but not that much. Add another vignette on the sides and in the corners. I'm not going to show you every time I do vignette, it's just a painting with the brush and just playing around the opacity, that's it. And now for the text, let's write actually anything. For example, they own, and they own, copy this, football, and let's change, okay, actually keep this font, make it a little bit smaller like on this thumbnail. They own football, perfect. And there is a little bit wave effect on this, so go into text options and maybe add a bow effect like this, for example 4 or 3, perfect. The same here, might be something like this. Add actually a red glow. You can copy my settings for the glow. I'm playing only with size and sometimes with the opacity too, but not much, and I'm keeping everything on the screen mode. Now let's add this brush effect again, but this time on the black color. Drop it below our text. Make this a little bit, this logo a little bit bigger actually. Okay, you can also create a black layer below the paper texture and turn the opacity a little bit down to make it a bit darker. Now let's create this effect with these dollar signs. For this we need to use other brush. I don't have any custom brushes, so I'm gonna use something already in the Photoshop. You can make it better if you have brushes installed. And now just paint it like this, some S and dollar sign kind of. Boom, 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 boom. Turn the option to multiply. You can actually play with the styles of this layer as well. I actually like this one more than multiply, and maybe try to make it a little bit fading. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, now add noise effect again like before, and add some vignette once again on the sides and above. And this is pretty dark, so let's just do something in the exposition. Yeah, it should be better now. And now copy all of this, Ctrl+J, make it as one layer and play in the field camera raw filters to make it look a little bit more sharp and more interesting in general.